Welcome once again, our viewers. Today we are analyzing the spread of the epidemic, or call it COVID-19, coronavirus. We are going to see how the virus has been weaponized to promote corruption in Uganda. Keep watching. Today we are coming up with another new episode. Today's episode, we are going to be analyzing coronavirus, how they have weaponized the virus to enhance corruption or to promote corruption in Uganda. Sit back and listen to this information because it's very vital. As you know, the virus has hit the whole world. USA is crying, Britain is crying, Italy is crying, Spain, the whole of the European continent has been affected. Asia, USA, Africa. Now today we are going to analyze Uganda because it's where I come from and I see how the virus has spread from the beginning. At first we used to hear about coronavirus, but we thought it would stop in China. But it has now entered, it entered our country about 7 months ago, 7-8 months ago. We've been on lockdown. It has taken a lot of transition. But this virus has come with a challenge. What is the challenge and what we are going to talk about today? Corruption. Corruption has eaten almost the entire country. Instead of focusing on fighting the virus from spreading from people in communities, some people, some officials, or some leaders have taken advantage of this virus to extract money, or the little that people are left with, because many people, due to this epidemic, have lost jobs. Many jobs have been lost. People don't have money. People are poor. But there are people in the society that have taken advantage of others because of the many directives that have been put forward by the government to fight the virus. For example, the curfew, the lockdown, the curfew hours and the lockdown has been used by the law enforcers in a negative way, which is affecting so many people. Just imagine the virus is existing. Poverty is rampant in communities. Many people have lost jobs. Many people have been evacuated from their homes because they cannot pay rent, which is a very big problem. But the matter is, all this is happening. The virus is hitting. At the same time, there is a vice that is rising that is not sweet to the communities. People are experiencing injustice just because of the virus. We are going to share with you some of the things that have been done. I myself have an experience, a negative experience of the virus. I didn't intend to be vulnerable, but I happened to find myself in a situation whereby a corrupt personnel came and approached me in a certain way and had to rip off the small I have. So I'll be sharing with you. Very many people, very many instances have happened. People have burnt themselves. We've seen the police beating people for no reason. A lot that I'm going to share with you. Yeah, the first incident that happened to me, and I'm going to share this because it's connected to the people we think that are there to protect our lives. I mean the security. I've seen LDUs acting in a very non-professional manner just because they hold guns. One day I was walking. I was going to Owino Market from home. I found a group of LDU. They walk in a line. That's a security group that was put to monitor people who break the law or wrongdoers on the way. Yes, the government had issued directives, or the president issued directives, so that Ugandans put on masks when they are moving on the way. So I had my mask with me, but it was a very hot day, and I was walking alone. I wasn't in a group of people. I was walking alone, going to town, doing my own thing. So two men were on a motorcycle riding, and I think they happened to be warned that there was danger in front. That's like the security is coming. Now imagine somebody who has to protect your life is somebody you're now fearing even to approach. He's not a thief, just because he has a gun. Now these two border men, I think they were on a very high speed, and then they knocked a pole, an electricity pole, and they fell in a trench. Then I thought maybe because I didn't know what the communication was from the other fella, I continued moving because I knew I had my mask with me. There is no problem. If I, like for example, I had entered in a group in a place which is congested with very many people, I would know what to do, to put on my mask, of course. So I kept moving. When I saw the security officers, it was I didn't get scared because I'm not a wrongdoer. I'm not a criminal. I kept on moving. So to my surprise, two police officers, like at the LDU, local defense units, that's what they call them. Now two of them came running after me. I didn't run. I kept on walking because I'm not a criminal. So they started harassing me. One of them was holding my hand like they wanted to handcuff me. And I was like, what have I done? I asked them, what have I done? What's the problem? The man asked me, where is your mask? I told him, okay, I have my mask, but I have difficulty in breathing. I can't put this mask on right now, but I know where to put it on. I can't be moving. I've walked a long way. I've come all the way from Rubaga Road. I've reached here. I haven't found any reason why I should be putting on a mask because I'm walking alone. I'm not in a group of people. The man was like, let's go to the police, to the cells. We are going to jail you. Then I was like, okay, fine. You're going to jail me. Let me walk by myself. They started holding my trousers, like putting them up as if, like pulling me as if I was a criminal. I told them, hey, I'm a Ugandan. Why do you have to treat me like this? I know the virus has affected so many people, but not putting on a mask, I understand it was a presidential directive, but it wasn't meant for you to be brutal. I'm a Ugandan. I can walk by using my legs. Like I have legs too. I'm not lame. Just leave me, let me walk. I'll go with you wherever I want to go. So it happened that one of them was the group leader. He called me and okay, I told this guy who was mishandling me, I told him like, hey guy, you know I have my mask, I have it with me. Then he was like, where is it? I told him I have it I have it in my bag. So I had to remove the mask and show the guy. So he had to send me to the other guy. But what was their mission? Because this is not the first incidents I got with security, because I knew what they were planning. They wanted to extract money from me, because that kind of like, if you move along with them, so they will tell you like, to forgive you, I bring like 10,000 or 20,000, even 50,000. These people are like, they think like, okay, if for example I've broken the law, corruption is the way forward, which is not true. Which is not true. Because if the president had put out the directives, the SOPs to follow by the citizens, if somebody broke the law, take them to court. Why do you have to extract from them money? Maybe I can explain myself to the judge and I would get forgiven, but why do you have to rip the small I have? Why do you have to take the small I have from me? Now, this incident ended when this, I think the security officer this time was very understanding. When I showed him that I had the mask, he held me like a son, and he told me that he was an elder person. He told me like, hey, the mask is not supposed to be in the bag. You have to put it on the what? On your nose. Thankfully, that incident went very fine. I never paid money for it. We also have the police. a police of Uganda, I don't know how this world operates. I understand that when you become a civil servant or you decide to serve the country, to serve your country, to bring service to your country, minding about money, it's not it's we Ugandans, okay, who give out, like, we pay taxes. We pay taxes to the government, and the government has to pay its civil workers. But I don't know how much these people are paid. I don't know whether it's the kind of poverty they're experiencing in their jobs or the lack of finances. They are not paid well. These people try to behave in a manner that is not right towards the citizens of Uganda. There is a scenario I experienced when the virus was had started around February, March there. Now, when the president came out to issue, like, to issue the directives, the coronavirus directives to the citizens, he had to coordinate the police, like the security, different bodies of the government that makes up the government, to enforce those directives, to see that Ugandans follow those directives. And they had to give us SOPs, like, for example, we had to wash our hands. We had to wash our hands. We have to sanitize, like use sanitizers. We had to wear masks, avoid touching sensitive places like the nose, the eyes, and the ears. We had all that and we are following. But to my surprise, the police started raiding in people's homes, people's workplaces, in order to enforce. Remember when I get the virus, it's me to blame. It's not the police, the policeman who comes. He's coming to enforce as if he lives in my daily life. He knows what I eat. When I go to the toilet, we go together. The way they were behaving was like they are told them to monitor us in each and every place that we are in. So this scenario happened whereby policemen would make rounds, like they would come and inspect around places who have not put on masks. Like they would start arresting people on the road, just the way the LDU man did. But they arrest you with an intention of ripping off money, like it's a corrupt kind of target. They're targeting people to extract money from them, which I don't agree with. So it happened that a man was by that time that they said that motorcycles should not carry people. So a certain man, okay, they are making their operations, but this was a dirty kind of operation whereby they even approached people in their shops, like you're selling a shop, and then somebody comes to your shop and is like, hey, you're not putting on a mask. Can you imagine? You're not putting on a mask in my shop. I'm selling in my shop, you're not putting on a mask. And then if you try to explain why you're not putting on a mask or something like that, this police officer would start saying like, hey, we are going to arrest you because I'm going to I'm with my fellow officers. I'm going to tell them that you had broken the law. So you have to find a way to see that this is sorted out before these guys come nearer. Then you find like these people are bribing because of fear. They instilled fear into the hearts of Ugandans. Ripping off money. That was not right. Then I had also a scenario with the police officers just now, the same. It now the story of this guy who came, who had taken, like he jumped onto a motorcycle because I think he was coming from very far. Now when he saw these police officers, they were near my mom's shop. He realized that he has to jump off the motorcycle before these guys see him. So the man jumped off the motorcycle, which I think was reasonable because he didn't want to get arrested by the officers, but unfortunately he was seen by one of them after like 3 minutes. So this guy came slowly, the police officer, and arrested the man. The man told him, don't hold me like a criminal. I'm a Ugandan. I'm a Ugandan. What is my crime? You're a police officer. You're mishandling me. What have I done? Then the police officer told you have not followed the presidential guidelines about the virus, so you're arrested. So he told me now, yes, that you've told me, I've understood, I'm arrested. Can't I walk with you to the police if you're taking me to the cells? Mishandling just to instill fear in the heart of the man so that he can, Remember, they were standing at the shop asking for a bribe from the shop owners. Actually, they started doing this right from where the street starts to the end of the street. Now, at the end of the street, that's where the incidents happened. And I was seeing this man was seriously mishandled, like just because he has broken the presidential directives. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have followed it. The president had put up those laws so that Ugandans follow them. But if somebody has done it the opposite, don't mishandle him. You speak to the person. Maybe he didn't get, or maybe he didn't even hear what the president said. But the man was mishandled. But later on, I happened to find the man. Actually, the next day, the way they showed it to the people, it was like he's going to get maybe convicted or jailed or something. 2 days after, a day after, I find this man at his place. I asked him what happened. The man told me, no, those guys had to take some money from me. But why, police? Why would you take money from people? This is not right. The pandemic, or the pandemic didn't come to bring troubles or to cause unrest in people. People are poor and you're extracting money from them. That is not right. Another incident, they had put up the curfew hours for motorcycles. I own a motorcycle myself, and it's what I use for transport. Like if I want to go somewhere, all vehicles were stopped from moving, even private vehicles, and both public and private vehicles, plus motorcycles. The president had instructed Ugandans to use motorcycles. Like if you own a motorcycle, you only have to carry luggages. Now, carrying a luggage is one thing, but also there is that kind of movement. This time I didn't carry someone. By the way, I was carrying, I had taken eggs somewhere in a place called Chiseka to drop my, a client had called, I had ordered some eggs, so I took these eggs to Chiseka market. It happened that when I was coming, the curfew hours, the president had directed that motorcycles should stop working. Those carrying luggages should stop working at 6 p.m. But it happened to be that it was around 5:20, 5:30. We are rushing back home to see that the curfew doesn't get us on the way. Then 2 police officers were standing on the middle of the road with guns, arresting motorcycles. I'm a law-abiding citizen of my country. I don't break the law. So I was rushing back to my home to see that the curfew hours get me there. And unfortunately, the police officer holds my motorcycle and starts asking me questions like, hey, do you know the time? I told him, yes, it's 5:20. He said, no, your phone is wrong. It's 6 already. I told him, but no, officer, you look, before I even spoke, I started pleading with the officer. My motorcycle was confiscated and it was taken to a nearby police station. And they told me to follow the motorcycle that side. I went there. I found a group of men arrested. They were all going back home around that time. They were arrested, like their motorcycles were confiscated and they were at the police station. Remember, the time is going. Now the time you take negotiating please to release your motorcycle, it's coming to 6 already. Now they had a valid reason to get to not to give us the motorcycles, because even if they had handed them back to us, we could not ride them back home because the time was beyond. Actually, if they left us to go, other officers would still arrest us. But now, this is what really made me mad about this whole situation of police officers arresting people because the pandemic. There have been laws that have been passed or guidelines for people to follow about the pandemic. These people wanted money from us. We asked them to take us to court so that they can let the judge decide our fate. But the police officers refused to do that. They said they will leave, that we shall. the motorcycles will have to remain at the police station. Now remember, some of us come from very far. You've been arrested at Chiseka Market and you sleep, your home is in Budo. Can you walk up to Budo? You can't. What happened? They had to pick money from each and every one of us. That's why at a point I come and ask myself, like, okay, even if somebody knew the law, how do you survive in such an environment where even the people who have to enforce the law are breaking it? It's not in my doing, or it's not in my liking to bribe a police officer. What is the problem? Is the government giving them little money that can't sustain their lives? Is it something that was inherited, or they got it from, they breastfed it, they breastfed them with? I even have fear approaching a police officer if I had something. For example, somebody has stolen my item, to go to police to go and report. Because you know very well that even if I go to the police station to report this, they are going to start asking for money to arrest the person. At the end of the day, even if they arrested the person, in case you paid the money, they would also get money from that person to be released. It is a cycle. It's a cycle of corruption that doesn't end. So they rip off people's money. This is a pandemic. We are not working. We don't have money. People, Ugandans don't have money. They are poor. But the same people who we expect to be protecting us are misusing their positions to rip money off the poor Ugandans. That's why I'm doing this video, so that maybe I can send a message to them. Or maybe somebody who is out there and you don't know how to handle, how you handle an approach with a police officer in Uganda. You get to understand how the behavior is. The traffic officers, I really salute you for the kind of work that you've done to this country, standing on the road to see that road users don't break the law. I would also say something about the traffic. The traffic has been working professionally during the pandemic, but there are some incidences whereby I think they were working with the wrong people. There is a time I was coming from Zana. Then the vehicle had a problem. The one I was driving had a problem. So it took me time to, like, I didn't catch up with the time that was set as like a few hours. So I got arrested. I got arrested by the police for violating the law. But this incident is something I will never forget. I really pleaded with this man to see that I explained my scenario, what had happened to me. The car had broken down and I had to take the initiative to repair the vehicle. So when I reached Kasubi, that's where I was heading. A police officer arrested me and I parked the vehicle, and then he told me that he's going to take the vehicle to the police because I've broken like a few times. But I explained myself, this is what happened. So unfortunately, we didn't come in terms with the police. It was the first time I faced that kind of arrest, but I wasn't charged. So I don't know what the trick was, but what happened is that I slept at that point where the vehicle was arrested. I think it was around, the vehicle had to stop operating at 7 p.m. But the curfew called me, it was 7:30. It was 7:30, so the police officer was not really compassionate with me. He never charged me, but he had to confiscate the vehicle. And as a way, it was since it was my first time to get arrested, I thought maybe the officer wanted to take my vehicle somewhere else, wanted to steal it. So I had to sleep at that point where the vehicle was. So I think he was doing his job. The traffic was, well, the traffic officers have been good. I have not much to I can't talk negative about them, because each time there has been something that is not right around the pandemic, because during the lockdown many people did not get the presidential directives very well, because he had talked so many times, and the law or the directives that were given to people to follow, some of them were confusing. So a police officer, if you met a traffic officer on the road and you broken the traffic rule, they would at least try to educate to you what this whole, how you should behave on the road around this epidemic period, around this pandemic period. Now, another scenario about this coronavirus pandemic or the lockdown, something that I really hated. The traffic officers were nice with us, but these police officers who walk with guns, those people have been a problem, a very big problem. There is another day I was with a friend in a car, like we sell eggs. So I'd gone to pick my eggs from the store. I was taking it to the customer. Then it happened that we found police officers, these ones holding guns, like I don't know what their work is, or what to do what kind of security, because in Uganda the police has like over five uniforms or 4 that they put on. You don't understand which one does what. So this time this police officer told my friend to get out of the vehicle, and he himself jumped in the vehicle. We were 2 in the car, and imagine what this man was accusing me of, or accusing us of. He's not a traffic officer, that is number one. He's just a mere police officer walking with guns. I don't know, he's looking for thieves or he's looking for what. Huh? He just jumped into the car, and imagine what he's asking me, that I've not put on a mask in my car. I've not put on a mask in my car, the one I'm driving, the one I bought with my money. I'm not putting on a mask. I had the mask in my hands, and it was, as I told you, I have a problem with breathing. I can't put on a mask on when the sun is like, when there is heat, a lot of heat, and I can't breathe well. So I had held my mask in my hands as I was driving. Even when he entered, he saw it that I had the mask with me. Even my friend had a handkerchief on his nose. But this guy removed my friend outside and entered my vehicle, then told me to drive to a nearby petrol station. We drove there, and imagine what he was asking. First of all, he told me that the mask, I had no mask, and I told him I have the mask, but I was not putting on the mask. That was his argument. I was not putting it on, and the president said we should put on the mask. I told him yes, I was not putting it on. I explained my side. Then he said, no, the bad thing is, like, you're talking too much. What you should do, what are you going to do for me? I told him, what do you want me to do? That he wanted 50,000 from me. Really? I asked this police officer, my friend, have you made this 50,000 today? Have you made it? Do you have it with you? Do you know the kind of work that I do? Do you know where I was going? I told him, officer, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. If you want to drive me to the police station, why do you ask from me money that you yourself can't even give it to you don't even have it? Do you have the 50,000 so that you can give it to me? Because I might be more in need than you. You've shown an interest of asking, but do you know my position in having the money, whether I have it or not? So this police officer was like, now, he wanted to make things really complicated for me. I told him, okay, let us drive to the police station. But what happened is, when my friend was removed from the vehicle, even himself, he was asked for money. He was asked for money. Now it's like this pandemic has become a money-making virus. It's not even meant to regulate people's behaviors or to see that the virus doesn't spread to other places. The police officers don't care. They really don't care. For them, when the president speaks, they see a loophole, or they see a way of making money out of the president's speech. That's why there must be a follow-up into the behaviors of these people. It is not correct. There are scenarios whereby even the people whom we think that they are the ones who have to control this whole pandemic period to be safe, so that Ugandans can be safe. They are the people also involving in coronavirus, like the office of the Prime Minister was directed to take over the job of fighting the virus alongside other ministries working together. But as spearheaders, inside the office of the Prime Minister came 4 officials that showed dishonest to Ugandans by hiking the prices of food that was meant to be distributed to the poor Ugandans, who the government thought that would die in their houses because they have lost jobs because of the curfew hours and the directives or the restrictions they have put on them to close their work, even to restrict their movements. These officers hiked prices of food. They even supplied food that was expired, out of date, to Ugandans. Fortunately, these people were arrested. The government was had fulfilled its mandate of fighting corruption in the country. These people were arrested and charged. I would also not forget to comment on the behaviors of the members of parliament, or the house, which represents the interest of the people, the elected body, the Parliament of Uganda. The parliamentarians allocated themselves 20 million each. But this game didn't end well, because the government had plans to secure money to fight this pandemic, and the money was allocated already to the government, and later on the parliament itself, like the MPs, allocated 20 million, but they said it was meant for them to go and help people in their constituencies fight the virus, or to buy them food, or to buy masks and provide to them. But the thing was that I didn't agree with. It was like this whole thing was politicized. The government refused other stakeholders, or let me say, if it is the church would do a very great job in supplying food, but the government took over single-handedly to provide, like to distribute food to people. Other people refused to do that. Now the member of parliament also wanted to take advantage, because now it was like they were marketing themselves for the next elections.